Pastor Mike.
Thank you, Greg. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, it's very important you be here Wednesday night, and if you're not here Wednesday night, I have 4 or 5 friends who are deputies who have the night off, who love to use handcuffs, and so it's a lot easier just to kind of walk in under your own accord instead of being carried in handcuffs and shackles. So show up, okay? So seriously, we would love to have you here for your input. Now we're gonna respect your time, and as we stated in the letter that we sent to you, we're going to do everything in our power to be done by 8:30. Don't have a lot on the agenda to cover this year. We do have one office that we need to fill, and that is on our Board of Trustees. And for those of you who don't know, our Board of Trustees is the official board of our church. They help us on a monthly basis with the finances. They are responsible for all the fiduciary responsibilities of our church, the land, the buildings, the finances, all of those things. They make legal decisions for our church. They approve membership. Very important group of men and women who serve this church. And so Terry Bethay's term is up, and he'll be coming off the board this year, so we have to replace him. And we have four names that have been put forward from our nominating committee, and let me read those to you this morning so you'll know ahead of time who's going to be on the ballot. If you're a member, they are, and this is in alphabetical order: Leonard Boudrum, Walt Richards, Rufus the Singing Man Spradley, and Ariel Valentine. So Leonard Boudrum, Walt Richards, Rufus Spradley, and Ariel Valentine. And we just want the Lord's will, the Lord's plan for all 3 out of the 4 of these guys are already serving on our elder board, our spiritual board, and so their names were put forward as a potential to fill this vacancy, and just pray and seek the Lord about that. God will direct us, and then as well we'll approve our budget for the coming year, and just share with you some things that are happening. You hear some great reports from our pastors about what God's doing, what God's done this past year, and some of our plans for the future. We're very excited about that. Well, I'm glad you're here this morning. How many of you are glad you're here this morning? Amen. Hopefully in your heart it's not just another Sunday and another day that, just got to get this checked off and get on with life. But I hope you came today anticipating the Lord was going to do something in your heart and something in your life. If you'll take your bulletin and turn it over, we are in the 6th week of an 8-week series. So we've almost made it. Turn to your neighbor and say, congratulations, we're almost there. This has been a long series. It's actually the longest series I think I've done since I've been here at the church. But it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to soak in something. How many of you like something that's been marinated and seasoned just right? Absolutely. How many of you know it's all in the recipe? How many of you know that's the truth? It's all in what it's been soaked with before, during, or after. And the truth is a lot of us have soaked in the wrong stuff for years. And we need to be marinated. And that's what we've been doing for the last 6 weeks of this 8-week series. We've been marinating. We've been marinating in the truth. In the truth, Jesus said, you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And we've learned truths like we're not God. That's a good truth to marinate in, isn't it? I don't know about you, but I need to be reminded of that from time to time. We've marinated in the truth that God is God, and He really does care about us. He really, really does. We have soaked up the message of the truth that if we will come clean with ourselves and with God and with other people that we trust, then God can begin this healing process in our life. And last week we talked about the fact that we have to learn to submit our character flaws, our issues, to the Lord voluntarily. We have to say, God, I'm like serious about this. I bring this to you. Do something in my life. And I don't know about you. I can't speak for you. But as I reflect back over the last 5 weekends, God has done some fresh stuff in your pastor's life. He's really been moving in my heart and my life. And I'm grateful for that. I never want to be so spiritually in a position that I feel like I know everything. How many of you understand this? Now, our ushers are going to give you an opportunity this morning. 2 weeks ago, we missed the opportunity to share in our benevolence offering. And this morning, they're going to come on right down, guys, and to give you an opportunity to give in the benevolence offering. This offering goes to help those who are hurting financially, those who who don't have enough to pay their bill, say an electric bill, or to pay rent or buy groceries. We try to help them out with that. And so go right ahead, gentlemen. Go right ahead. And just ask you to be generous this morning. Well, today, as we're in this sixth week, today we're going to talk about a subject that I know, beyond any shadow of a doubt, touches everybody in this room. And this is the issue of relationships. I'm just curious, how many of you in this room have ever been bruised, wounded in a relationship? Somebody said something to you, somebody did something to you. Well, some of you are going, yes, they did. Right there, absolutely. And how many of you have ever bruised or wounded somebody that you were in a relationship? You said something, you did something. You say, well, I would only have done it because they did it first. Absolutely. See, you know, we're real good at defending ourselves, aren't we? Well, the truth is, everyone has broken relationships. And when relationships get broken, when we get wounded, when we get hurt, when we experience that level of pain in relationship, inevitably what happens is we start building walls. We wall off. This person is a nasty, mean, ugly person. And so what we do is we build a wall between us and the nasty, mean, ugly person. And we say, I'm going to separate myself. I'm going to build a wall here because I'm not going to let this person hurt me again. And then somebody else comes along, and guess what? They have the same gift as that first person. And they hurt us, and maybe we even hurt them back. And so we decide that it's a lot safer if we just put up guard, if we just put up walls. And what happens if we're not careful, before we even know that it has happened, we've got walls standing all around us, and we have walled ourselves off, and basically we have imprisoned ourselves by locking other people out. This is the truth. I want you to hear it. I want you to understand it before we go any further. If you want to repair relationships, if you want better relationships, you want a better marriage, you want a better relationship with your kids or your grandkids, you want a better relationship with people in general, then you're going to have to put forth some effort and allow God to help you to tear down the walls. You see, I don't know about you, but I do not believe for one moment that God's intent, purpose for my life is to be locked up in the prison that I built. I don't think that's God's plan. I don't think it's God's plan that I should go through life being hurt in relationships and just keep putting the walls up to protect myself. I just don't think that's God's plan. I think it's God's plan that we would bring down those walls and do whatever we can do to bring healing to the relationship. We've been talking about this now for 6 weeks. We spent the first 5 weeks really talking about tearing down the walls that exist between us and God. How many of you know that is the most vital relationship that you have? The most important relationship that you have, the priority relationship you have is your relationship with God. Here's what I know. When everything is right between me and God vertically, then things are a whole lot more likely to be right between me and you horizontally. But let me give you a flip side of that. When things are right between me and you horizontally, then things between me and God vertically have a chance to be a whole lot better as well. See, they work together. But we've spent the last 5 weeks really talking about tearing down the walls between us and God, really kind of opening up our heart to God, and admitting the truth of who He is and who we're not, and opening our heart to Him. We've talked about choices and how the choices that we make can either create or keep us in our hurts and our habits and our hang-ups, or when we make the right choices, the healing choices, what happens is they open up possibilities that our life can be radically different. How many of you want the rest of your experience on planet Earth to be better than the first part of your experience on planet Earth? You know, sometimes I like to just tell myself, I take myself in the locker room of life, and I sit myself down and I say, big boy, it's only halftime. Are you listening here? It's only halftime. We still got a half a game to play. We still got a quarter of a game to play. I know some of you have heard the 2-minute warning, but it's okay, amen. You still got 2 minutes. You need to keep playing. And here's what I tell myself. Listen, it's high time to get this ship turned around. This boat's been going in the wrong direction way too long. I've been making the wrong kind of choices. And when I start making the right kind of choices, life gets better.
And we've talked about all of this in context of the Beatitudes. Those statements of Jesus Christ in the Sermon on the Mount, where he said, blessed are you if you do this. Blessed are you if you do this. And this morning is no different. I want you to look in your notes if you would. There are two this morning, not one, but two Beatitudes I want to show you. Matthew 5:7 and Matthew 5:9. And both of these relate to what we're going to talk about today, and that is the relationship choice. That we're going to make a choice to do something to improve the relationships in our life. Now, these are the very foundation of what we're talking about. Now, I shared with you when we first started this series that if you go all the way back to the original language of the New Testament, which is the Greek language, that this word blessed or blessed, however you want to pronounce it, really means, in its strictest sense, happy. How many of you know if you're blessed, you're happy? Come on now, folks. How many of you know if God's blessing you? I don't know about you, but when the blessings of God are being poured out on me like a bucket, I'm a happy camper, see? And it really means happy. And in today's English version, I love the translation of these two verses. Here it is. Matthew 5:7 says, happy are those who are merciful to others. Happy are those who are merciful to others. And then Matthew 5:9 says, happy are those who work for peace. Happy are those who are merciful to others. You're going to find that the rest of that says, for they will be shown mercy. We get what we give. We receive what we sow. We reap what we sow. And then it says in Matthew 5:9, happy are those who work for peace. Now this brings us, in your notes, it's the highlighted piece there at the top of the page, the relationship choice. This brings us to the choice that we have today. And it's a choice. How many of you know all of these things we've been talking about are choices? You don't have to do these. Listen, if you don't want to be happy, if you want to be messed up for the rest of your life, don't do these. If you don't want to be blessed, hey, that's up to you. I've met some people who are pretty happy being unhappy. How many of you know somebody like that? Don't point. They're pretty happy just being messed up. But I don't want to be messed up. I don't want to be unhappy. I want to be happy. I want to be blessed. And here's the choice. If I'll make this choice, happiness will come into my life. I will be blessed if I do this. And here it is. The relationship choice says, I evaluate all of my relationships. I offer forgiveness to those who have hurt me. And I make amends for harm I have done to others, except when to do so would harm them or others. And in other words, I'm making a conscious effort. I'm making a choice that I am going to forgive people who've hurt me. And those people that I have hurt, I'm going to do everything in my power to make amends, to make some type of restitution to them. I'm going to apologize. I'm going to make things right somehow, unless me attempting to do so would cause further harm. How many of you see the whole spirit of this choice? It is good relationships. And I believe that brings honor and glory to the Lord. Now, if I were going to take a survey of every single hurt that has ever happened in your life. If I passed out papers this morning to everybody and I said, we're going to start right now, and we're going to write down every single word that anybody has ever said that has hurt you, every wound that has ever come into your life, every relationship that you've experienced brokenness in, every person who has betrayed you, all the way back to kindergarten, all the way back when you were on the playground, and then we're going to go all the way back there, and we're going to come all the way up to today, and we're also going to write down every person we've ever hurt, every word we've ever said that has caused pain in somebody's life, every broken relationship that we broke or that we added to the brokenness, and we're going to put all of this down on a piece of paper. How many of you know there's not enough paper in Palm Beach County to take care of this morning just for this crowd? I've got an 11 o'clock service coming. There's no way. How many of you know if I said to you, I want you to catalog it, I want you to categorize it, I want you to kind of somehow neatly put it together, let's organize this thing. How many of you know that we would be writing from now till the day that Jesus comes back, and we would never be able to write it all down? Why? Well, here's the why. The answer to the why is this. We are broken people ourselves, and our world is filled with broken people, and the truth of the matter is, as long as we bump into each other, we're going to be hurting each other. See, it is impossible not to hurt each other. How many of you know it's kind of innately built into us, we're going to do this? Come on, how many of you have ever worked a nursery? How many of you have ever worked a nursery? Someone write those hands down right now. Absolutely. How many of you have never worked in the nursery? Definitely write these names down right now. Yes, for sure. Where's it? If you go back in the nursery this morning, and they're just little tots. I was back there last week. There was the cutest little fella back there. I think, I can't even remember his whole name, and he was so cute. He was fascinated with the TV, and he was watching this little Veggie Tale thing, and there was tomatoes and cucumbers on the screen, and this is an old TV with a VCR port in it. He kept trying to reach in the VCR port to get the tomato out, you know? I mean, he's just so innocent. He's just so cute. But let me tell you something. Take the TV away from him, and I'll guarantee you cute will disappear. Amen? I'll guarantee you he won't be a happy camper, and I'll guarantee you that he'll let you know, turn that TV back off. Why? Because he's been wounded, and then he's going to wound back. This is how we do. See, the truth is, boil it right down, we love very poorly. We don't do a really, really good job of loving each other because we have experienced so much hurt, and we are people who, out of the fact that we're sinful in nature, we don't pay attention a lot of times, we're constantly not only being hurt, but we're constantly hurting other people. And what I have found in my life is I constantly need to both offer and receive